And even if you were to have like a prompt of 10 different things, right? Like say if you had one prompt of like, oh, like here's 10 different personality traits, here's 10 different superpowers, here's 10 different drawbacks.
I like coming up with random list of powers and then just see what I come up with.
Imagine rolling just those things every single time. It's always going to vary. The possibility of that happening is, again, like a 1 in 10 chance, but it's like, it shows that there's
always something else cool right around the corner that we can come up with, because there's no end to the prompts. There's no end to what we can roll up.
Now we're going to be officially rolling for superpowers. This is usually the make or break.
Roll for hero.
Every time.
Hey, oh, hello. Where are we at over here? Oh, there's your screen. There's that screen, but then I guess on the mobile one, I'm not even there. It doesn't. It's all good. It's fine and dandy. And hello, everybody, and welcome one and all to Roll for Hero, a segment of the channel in which we let the dice dictate what on God's green earth we will be drawing for today. It is me, your ever weird and ever loving Uncle E. And of course, with me today is, of course, my big bearded, bald-headed, beautiful co-star. You know him, you love him, claim to be the world's sexiest man of all time, Mr. Fish.
Hey, everybody, it's your Uncle Trish, because apparently we're just moving through the alphabet today. Good to see you, Jordan. Doggone Comics, Dragon Gaming. Glad to have everybody here today. I'm excited. This is our last online Roll for Hero before we do a live Roll for Hero all in Michigan at the Tulip City Comic and Toy Fair. So if you're anywhere near the area of Michigan, looking your way, Jordan, Doggone Dragon Gaming, you could drive 12 hours like I'm going to and go show up and hang out with us for a one-day con in Holand, Michigan. It's going to be awesome. Your Uncle E's coming in. T.S. Luther from the Digger fame and Alice Lost in Wonderland is going to be there. Lots of other cool people are going to be there. Lots of cool cosplays and stuff. It's going to be awesome. What is up, Benjamin? Good to see you. Let's see what
How we all doing today, everybody? I am super excited. So as Mr. Fish stated, this is going to be, we have this one, but then we're actually going to be doing a Roll for Hero live at Tulip City Comic Toy Fair. It is going to be a blast and a half. This is going to be the first con I will ever be attending as like a vendor and like as a guest for like some kind of a panel adjacent thing. I never thought I would ever get to that status yet. And yet here we are, all because of this crazy show that I just wanted to do for funsies, or to be like, I need a break from public domain stuff. Let me just roll up characters. And now here we are. That's just crazy to think about that.
And we're going to have the Roll for Hero handbook to give out to people that show up at the panel so that they can take it home and roll up their own characters. Some of y'all have got to play around with it already. It's got tables in there for everything. I wanted to make it fun enough for me to have fun using, but also clear enough that some of the younger people that enjoy the show are going to come to panels and be able to understand it and play along. So there are explanations of like how to add up dice and stuff. But anyway, it's really cool. I've been having a lot of fun rolling up way too many characters out of this thing.
No, honestly. Actually, funnily enough, let me show y'all one. So Mr. Fish has drawn a vast variety of other characters. I would say he's in second place right now. First place being Benjamin. I'm not gonna lie. Benjamin's first place in terms of actually rolling up and creating God knows how many characters.
Oh man. Yeah, he's got me beat hands down.
Right, but you are second place because of the fact you actually started rolling up a lot more, especially because you wanted to roll up some examples for the Roll for Hero handbook, which is the link to the description for the PDF on this in the description below. Yay, nay?
I'm not sure if it still is, because I closed it down to make the actual book up. It might be. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth.
Well, anyway, outside of that, though, if you're able to somehow apprehend yourself that'll be fantastic. Not only that, but there will actually be a QR thing, because Mr. Fish showed me this really nifty thing he ended up making for his booth. And I think we're going to be like next to each other booth-wise, if I'm incorrect, right?
Oh, yeah. We're going to be right next to each other.
Oh, yeah. So he's going to have this little QR code. So if any of you are attending to the Tulip City Comic Con, you guys can actually scan the QR code and get yourself the digital PDF of the Roll for Hero handbook. I'm actually super excited for this handbook, not only for the fact that I can't wait to see what other kind of characters some of y'all are going to be creating out of this, but also we're going to see if we can expand and do some other like other ideas that you can roll from, create other booklets where you can kind of create aliens, maybe some fantasy creatures, something along the lines of that. So I'm super excited to see where they.
Oh yeah. If anybody in the comments is old enough to have a little gray hair on your head, you may remember back in the heyday in the 80s of the like role-playing game explosion and like games like Heroes Unlimited that brought us stuff like the Ninja Turtle role-playing game and stuff. I freaking love me an expansion book. You know, I love them so much. And I bought every expansion book that I could find for Car Wars, for Heroes Unlimited, for the Ninja Turtles, for whatever I could get my hands on. I love an alternate book that has new rules and new tables to roll on and new ideas to add into the game and throw in. You know, I still collect them when I see them on eBay and stuff now because you know you never know what kind of cool wild idea is going to be that I can.
Now, here's what I will say too. The one thing that I really want to do at some point. Now, obviously, the whole point of this show is that we're trying to challenge our creativity and create characters based on random dice rolls. Again, there are so many characters that we have drawn on this show that I have never thought I would ever draw in a million years, but yet I end up drawing them. Do you think I was going to draw a cougar-themed supervillainess? No. Do you think I was going to draw two bird alien sisters that somehow end up living in a cybernetic, or like in a cyberpunk world? No. Do you think I was going to draw a classic 1960s style sci-fi space hero? No, but we did it because it was fun and the dice dictated everything. And our imagination was the key motivational driver. Heck, in the Roll for Hero handbook, I even drew this little guy right over here, Crucible, strictly made from the handbook itself. This is a character from the handbook. And to think, imagine, this is what I was able to draw. What could you guys create? I can't wait for expansion packs. I want to see a sci-fi expansion pack. I want to see some fantasy expansion packs because obviously we have to make those. But that would be freaking amazing, right? Even going as far as to doing like monsters or, taking or like, I don't know, something along the lines of that. Monsters was the only thing that I had at the brain at the time. But I mean, think about it.
Oh yeah, man. We could do a monsters pack. We could a cryptid pack. We could do a pack just for aliens and different ways to roll up different aliens and come up with different ideas.
All that other kind of fun stuff.
Oh man.
And then not only
see, that would be a really fun one to go into about like rolling up random objects and then like how could you combine these random objects together to make a cool spaceship or a cool like road warrior type vehicle or a weapon or whatever. Oh man, it's so cool. This is a character I rolled up just the other day and I got a weird roll, but I kind of like where it ended up. I rolled a character who by years of training honed his body to have the ability to, and then like the first one I got was being a high-tech or alien weapon master. Okay, you could spend years and learn how to be that or learn enough alien tech to be a weapons master. No problem. And then the second was he could turn his body into weapons. Okay, now I could give you turning invisible, like if you trained hard enough. Or say bulletproof skin if you focused hard enough. What's up, Eddie Von B? But like turning your hand into a sword, I find that hard to believe that you could train hard enough to learn to do that. But I then rolled like his power came from some outside giant object, like an ancient artifact or an alien device. And then it hit me. Like he got his powers spending his life studying this like crashed alien ship after an invasion. And he's so worried about another invasion, another threat from outside coming in and hurting the people he loves. He spent his life studying this weaponry and technology and built himself a suit that ties into the power source of this alien spaceship, and the nanites and stuff in this alien tech transform his body into weapons. So he did spend his life learning how to use this technology that does transform his body into weapons and stuff. And it's probably ultimately going to kill him, but he's willing to do this because he's terrified of another threat from outside that they're not ready for. So he spent his life learning to focus to do this. And I ended up with this really cool character. I really liked the design. I threw in a little bit of a Centurion's vibe, thinking like a toyetic kind of thing where you could snap in other parts and stuff that he could build.
See, that's a mindset that I gotta learn. I gotta learn how to be a very toyetic brained kind of person. But speaking of like different cool character concepts, I ended up asking because well, the wife is currently back down with her family because she had to get rid of some stitches that she got from a thing, nothing too crazy. But she ended up FaceTiming her brother, my brother-in-law, and I was like, hey, buddy, I need you to just do me a quick favor. Let's just come up with something random. I kid you not, I pulled up the handbook. It's like the Bible at this point for Roll for Hero. I pulled the handbook out. And I'm like, all right, roll me this, roll me that, roll me this, roll me that. And eventually we came up with one of the weirdest things. Now, mind you, he has a very different kind of imagination. So I had to try to take something out of his brain and draw it in my style. And we came up with this guy, if it ever shows up on my screen here.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, let me see. There he is.
Let's make that big so we can check it out.
So this is... Oh, I even have I even stole a little thing from you here where I, made like a little background image of some kind and then like put the name on there.
I'm trying to move it. Move. I cannot move it to save my life.
Here, maybe let me give it a shot.
There we go.
Okay, I lied.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he rolled up the following, which is, let me actually just kind of get all of this up here real quick. So he rolled up a not so, let me do one other thing here. I know a lot of that kind of happened. All right, let me see. A not so good kind of character who has a sense of justice. He's an alien that was stranded on Earth with 2 major powers and 1 skill. His skill is that he's an expert with ancient weapons, and they could be whatever, this, that, and the other. What's it called? Then he also happens to have an altered body ability in which he could like shapeshift his body to different weapons, kind of like your character does. And then, and also major transformations is another one of those powers too. So that fit really well into the transforming and alter body type thing. And then his access powers fully. Okay, so the optional modifier is that he can't access all of those powers unless he fully transforms. Think Shazam, where like he has to like say something and then he comes into this full form here, and he calls him, and he ended up naming him Salvador, which is like savior in I think Spanish or something like that. But the funny part is that he speaks like a Russian, is built like a freaking Zangief from Street Fighter over here with Bugs Bunny legs, and wears a luchador style mask and is just super hysterical. Like, this is the weirdest character by far. But this was something out of his imagination, and I tried making this up, and he ended up liking it. So, you can see that I gave him the ability to like conjure weapons out of his fist, like Wolverine's claws type of thing, but they're like katana blades. Mm-hmm. He made his fist into like a full-blown mace with spikes and stuff like that. Like, again, all deriving from the handbook. So, I mean, this was definitely a very...
Oh, my God. You just inspired me with a whole line of like Dino Luchadors. Would be freaking amazing.
Okay, listen, if that's not what season 4 would be, I know we said that season 4 we should do stuff from the handbook, but if we ever did a season 5, it would be just strictly...
Oh my God. Dino Luchadors would be freaking like totally designed to like be toys, like to be a Saturday morning cartoon, Dino Luchadors, and like everybody's like color coded and has their own like iconic weapon, and oh my goodness, that would be so much fun.
Okay, listen. I'm not against the idea of having that being like a season 5 thing. And also, I would love to make pocket comics, and it would be about like every like individual like dinosaur that we would draw up or something. That would actually be a fun series of pocket comics to make, where we draw up our 2 different like dinosaur luchadors and they fight each other in those pocket comics. Man. All right, we've been yapping.
Oh man. Dude, that would be so freaking cool. I don't have time for all these ideas, man. You're killing me, Smalls.
Hey, listen, I'm killing myself here. You kidding me? I got so many other ideas I'm working on. Like the fact that I'm currently creating The Grub issue number 2, 10 pages left, and this sucker is complete. And not only that,
that's awesome.
But also, Fish and I have been trading secrets of the ways that we can print our things. So I actually have with me right now the first print that I at least made of The Grub issue number 1. And not only that, but I also did a little fun thing on the inside where it looks like this fun little comic panel thing, has written and illustrated, and it has the logo of the character inside there. But this was actually a lot of fun, and to have it like in your hand, it's so different. Listen, I can appreciate webtoons, I can appreciate every webcomic platform, but there's just something about having a comic book in your hands that feels so like, it's mine and only mine. You get to see the
I'm telling you, man, that's the thing I love about this printer is the fact that like I can print up a copy of the book before it ever gets here from the printers. I can print up a proof and flip through it and look at it and like really know, okay, this looks good on the page. Because some things like they look good on the screen and then you see it printed out and you're like, oh, that font's too small or that font's too big or that ends up too close to. Being able to actually hold it in your hands is freaking amazing. Not to mention, it's great for like making videos and stuff and, promotions before the whole print run comes in. But that's neither here nor there because we need to get to what we came here for and start talking about the characters we rolled up. Now, you may remember on the first episode, I rolled up this Paladin Merchant dude, and you rolled up your Rhino Centaur Alchemist
Paladin.
Dude. Paladin. Well, yeah, you're a paladin, but your ultimate thing. What was your occupation again?
So he's a paladin, but his occupation is alchemist. So he's like a really very knowledgeable with chemicals. So he's bounding himself, and he's like, again, we're doing D&D logic here, or at least I am, where he swore an oath to learn everything about what the world can provide and how we can use the world to either benefit it, to use, basically use what the earth or this world has to offer and find a way to either use it against people that are trying to harm others and also trying to heal those that really need it. Again, some kind of a divine-esque thing. Again, we also derived from the Aztec or the Incan adjacent empires, hence why this kind of has like an Emperor's New Groove kind of vibe, at least for me it is. But I like the way that Fish did his. I like the way that you did your armor on that. So I'm a little envious of that. I envy the fact that you kind of did the cool colors. And not only that, but like the armor looking like it would be from the stone pyramids themselves. From that looks spectacular.
Oh yeah, I definitely I went into the shapes that I was already seeing in the artwork and stuff and in the carvings and just brought those looks over and then like applied textures and stuff. What is up, Mark the Shark? Textures that were probably in fabric and stuff originally in the drawings of like soldiers and stuff, but then translate that into armor plates and suddenly came up with lots of cool designs and stuff. And I think ultimately in the original drawing, like these were probably feathers up here, but they make really cool missiles.
They do.
And so I get the same shape and it reads the same vibe, but then it also comes off as much more aggressive.
But okay, so Benjamin says,
oh, he absolutely has security issues, Benjamin. He's out in the wild in the strange world, facing off against foreigners and stuff to bring back trade items for his god. He's got to be scared. And then the second characters we came up with, we got Rogue, and you got Assassin, and I got Baker.
So the way that
tell us about your dude.
So my dude over here, the head shape too. So also keep in mind too that whenever we're drawing these aliens, at least for this season, we came up with a variety of different like head shapes and different doodles, as shown here. And for me, it doesn't look the same, but that's because I kind of took the inspiration from there and then advanced it, enhanced it a lot more to eventually have what we got here. So this turtle character over here ended up probably working for like a higher and noble. Turns out, from like a quick Google search, turns out that there is a turtle god in the Egyptian pantheon that is claimed to be like an evil, kind of a god. So of course, having him being an assassin, but even crazier, like my kind of character would actually work with the politicians within like this Egyptian adjacent society, and they don't really trust him because of the fact that he's associated with a turtle like god, which again is like the equivalent of following like Satan or something like that. Again, it's like super no bueno, but it turns out he may or may not have good intentions. He's an assassin. Maybe he's trying to kill someone who's trying to go against maybe his people or the people that he's actually like serving under, like maybe if there's some kind of a hippo kind of individual in this world, he will serve under them, but he's, it's kind of like a he doesn't look trustworthy, but he might be trustworthy kind of a situation. And also his turtle shell is like, black as the night sky itself. So again, that would actually play onto the fact that, he's of that kind of lineage from these turtle-like people. So he is an assassin, but probably not like the Ninja Turtle kind, but more like I'm gonna sneakishly, murk out, the guys that are trying to screw over politically, if you will.
I don't know, Dragon Gaming. I'm wondering if the protagonists aren't going to expose themselves at some point. Is kind of what I'm thinking. I ended up last week with this Fishman Baker, and the more we started talking out the ideas and stuff and what society might be like for these guys, the more I decided on, like, he's baking things that he can't even eat, and he's baking them for the humans, but that's part of his whole rogue thing, is to get in good with the humans and the warm bloods and what all the species that don't normally associate with the fish people, get in good with them, making the kind of things they like to eat so that he can traffic in information and stuff like that. But if things go down, he is dangerous and like keeps his rolling pin on him at all times so he can crack some skulls if need be, or if they won't fit in his large gaping mouth.
I mean, also, I remember I made a TikTok where like I was stitching this dude's video when he was talking about ninjas and how they essentially just use the tools that they have, and that's basically like their weapons. Like it turns out the like little daggers that are famously known, those are just like digging tools for most of those ninjas. Like those are just basic tools, like for cutting rice grains or for like digging holes to pot plants or something like that. Like those were basic tools. So maybe your character is kind of like an Egyptian style like ninja, but with baking skills, and he happens to use the baking art, his baking tools as part of his arsenal.
I've got a whole story idea. I did a logo and a character lineup for it. I tried finding it, but I couldn't find it fast enough, and I had to get back to work. But it was called Triple Shots, and it's basically that idea that there's many different ninja lines that are still operating today, and they have all focused on one different thing. Like there's an Office Clan, and they all, their fighting is centered around briefcases and staplers and letter openers and things like that. And there's like the Cheerleader Clan that are, focused on stuff that they can do. There's like a Disco Clan. Like there's all these different clans that are built to blend into natural life. And then some kid comes along, and it turns out that like their ninja guild that they transmit messages through for like who they're going to take out, who they're going to assassinate, is a coffee shop. It's a national coffee chain. And anybody that orders like a triple shot of this gets the information on the cup for like who you're supposed to assassinate. That's why the names are always wrong, because that's the name of like who you're supposed to go after and who the bounty is on. And some kid walks in and accidentally orders this thing and gets the information, and now one of the cheerleader clan is trying to get the information from him so that she can take out who she's supposed to, but now everybody's trying to get this kid to get the information, so she's trying to keep him alive and get him out of it.
Okay, we have to work on that now, because when I made that video, I was talking about like a mom, a dad, and like two siblings that actually live their own lives, but they're all ninjas. Like the dad's an office worker, the mom is a construction worker, and they use like all the construction tools and stuff like that. The kids attend two different schools, like one's a bit more prestige, one's probably the public school, and you can see them using like origami ninja stars and little wasps as they're kind of firing them at like maybe the bullies or something like that.
Oh yeah,
that would be very interesting. But anyways, we're getting way off track. We've been yapping too much. We need to actually get some of these characters in motion, because again, I can yap about these ideas all day, but people came here to see us yip, yap, and draw. So we haven't done the drawing portion yet. So anyways, these were the head designs that we basically inspired, that were the main inspirations for the characters that we drew for last session. So Mr. Fish, let's roll up some brand new aliens to draw for this sandal-punk world.
Let's go, baby. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Let's see, what do we get? Slowing down. Okay. I'm okay.
Man, there are times where I forget that I made that doodle, and that's a duck or a bird or a, my God, what did I think of this? Why?
My first thought is that it's more platypi than anything.
I can go with that.
But hey, then you've got poisoned ankle spurs and stuff. So
this show,
just saying.
This season,
and to answer Mark Shark's question, yes, we have been talking about it, and we've been talking about maybe doing some mini comics that would be quick and easy to get done, but to get to play out the stories and see if any of them have legs to go any further. Do you have the cards that we can look at for rolling up the information?
Yes, I do. We have this right over here. So we have 2d6, the Pantheon inspiration. Basically, at this point, I should have just really said like culturalistic inspiration here. So we have the following. So so we did Aztec, now we did Egypt. So if we roll those, we can re-roll again, because I don't want us to keep making more characters for one faction. I want to try to diversify our range of different characters here. So we have, of course, Greek, we have Norse, Hindu, Egyptian, Chinese, Aztec, Native American, Celtic, Japanese, African, and of course we have 12. So if we roll a 12, we can actually take 2 of them and then mash them up. So who knows if we can ever get to that within this season. Yeah, Mr.
It does, Benjamin. It does.
It does look robotic. And yes, I am quacking mad because I was not. Oh man, that was a really I don't know what I was thinking when I was doing that. That blob method was very interesting. Anyways, Mr. Fish, go ahead and roll for our different culture that we'll be taking inspiration from.
All right, number 6 is Chinese.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna have to do a quick look. Where's my friggin' I'm not really prepared for this show. Well, then that's your opinion, Mr. Headphones. We didn't need them falling now, do we? Ugh. Carpet flooring and wheelchairs don't mix.
Yeah, that can be a problem.
Oh, yeah. And there you are. Thank God. We keep these on standby. So we have... All right. Up next, we have class. So we ended up rolling paladins and rogues for the last 2 episodes. So now we're going to figure out what are we going to be rolling for this. I shall be rolling this one with a classic 2d6. And if anyone's following along, please, follow along, see what you can do. Maybe you could try taking these strange alien heads that we've drawn up and just find a way of making it your own. We've actually seen some very interesting art pieces where they've taken Mr. Fish's, doodle, and they actually made it their own character. So, All right, we got number 10, Druid.
Oh, Chinese Druid.
This is going to be very interesting. Hello. Don't you love MacBook Pros when they do that? Anyways, so that's very interesting. So druids are very much, for those that do or don't know, druids are essentially like the nature class. They're the ones that would actually communicate with animals. They're very I guess they're just super powered hippies. They're basically super powered hippies, especially they have the ability to transform into other animals. So mine's starting to make a little bit more sense with the weird platyduck looking face.
There you go. Maybe he's just taking a beast form.
My Lord. All right.
Okay. Now occupation, we are gonna both roll on.
Yeah, so we can kind of do our occupation. I think is always interesting because we can go one of 2 ways. How about this? We're gonna let's switch it up here. Hello. So let's switch.
I'm trying to make it bigger so we can see it easier.
All right.
If I can get it to move. There we go.
Perfect. So
okay. Occupation.
Here's what I think was going to be interesting. I'm going to roll you in occupation, and you're going to roll me in occupation.
Bet. I got my worst dice out.
Oh, gee, thanks.
It's the same dice I'm using all the time. 5. All
right.
You got an 11.
I got a blacksmith.
Okay.
That's going to be interesting.
Really? Oh, okay. That's what I rolled you. What did you roll me?
You got 7. You're a mentor.
Okay. A druid blacksmith. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
That is very weird because they're very nature-based, but okay, rocks, stones, they're all part of nature. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's going to be interesting. It's like the great contradiction here.
Yeah, but you're also like forcing them out of their natural state and into something else, which that's going to be wild.
Oh yeah, this season has been wild. Everything and nothing makes sense all the time.
All right.
All right, now I gotta found it. That was a weird. I don't know what I was thinking. These shapes, I really should have improved on. But here we are.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Benjamin, a druid blacksmith is going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing what he comes up with on that.
Yeah, this is going to be a very. You know what? Let's also see if we can. If anything, we're also going to consider this practice for the panel. So, you know, because apparently we only got 50 minutes. So. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're blowing past that timeline already.
Oh, very much so. I mean, we're having too much. But we're also going to be doing a lot of other different ways of that. We're going to do like pen, paper type of stuff, not really digital, because y'all like tend to.
Oh, I forgot. I need to add them. I forgot I need to add them into the show so everybody else can see.
Okay, how on God's green earth am I going to take this platted duck looking face and make a druid blacksmith out of it? Okay, druid. Okay, so thinking about it now, they're very nature associated, right? You would also have to. This is also a very unique way of like trying to see their mindset now, because some characters are very simple. Some characters are very easy to be like, okay, they're this kind of class and therefore they can act like this, and we can kind of go from there. Like, again, my paladin alchemist, he is a scientist, but he's also devoting a lot of his time and efforts to creating different chemicals. The last character is like a political rogue that would actually assassinate those if they kind of get in the way of his mission, kind of a situation. So this one, I have to try to figure out a way to incorporate that head design into making it feel like an alien that would essentially forge weapons and other things with nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it feels funny because I feel like your character is meant to be the blacksmith and mine was supposed to be the mentor.
Oh my God! Oh, you know, that would be very interesting to have a robot druid who is, you know, like using blacksmithing to like try and come to terms in somehow with like bending his own nature as a way as opposed to bending nature to your will as a warm-blooded being to bend metal to his will to do what he wants. You want to switch characters?
Honestly,
you want to switch heads? I'll switch heads with you. I ain't scared.
You know what? Okay. You know what? That's actually, yeah. I think we should. I mean, if we had to roll each other's thing, it would make more sense if we ended up kind of.
There we go. I'll take it.
All right, we're doing it.
I'll make a mentor platted duck.
You know, the funny thing was that I remembered I made like my own knockoff idea of like Ninja Turtles. I even made a whole video about it, but each of them are actually themed after like, you know, like one's a ninja, one's a cybernetic one, the other one's like adventure based, another one's a cowboy type of situation. And I knew that like a rat was taken, so I was like, I made a duck kind of a mentor character, which was funny. So in a weird way, it's like I'm almost giving that exact idea to you. All right, we're gonna figure this out. Also, here's a little fun idea as well. So, what's it called? Archive. My man says, will you be doing a public domain version of Phantasm from Batman: Mask of the Phantasm? Probably not. Again, there's just a lot. I really don't know. I've been really trying my best to stay focused on making comics this time around, though I really want to get back into making content. I'm primarily going to be sticking with the ultra value content, which is like me making knockoff things of already popular, established things, and then also doing the Heroes of Gold, where I take characters from the public domain and just give them a fresh coat of paint. I am planning on maybe doing like some fun solo role. Like I also want to kind of do a fun like show called Solo Roll, where I'll just take the Roll for Hero handbook over here and just roll up a random character and just kind of go from there. Or get to finally talking about some characters that I always wanted to make, or that I always wanted to kind of talk about, like talk about my character, the Grub, or Power Core, and like the world that they live in, you know, and like getting to talk about those. Because again, I want to focus on making comics, but I know that content creation is a really difficult thing to do, you know. So the fact that we even do this, as well as
You ain't lying.
what's going on?
I say you ain't lying, man. Content creation is a whole freaking thing on top of like trying to make a living and trying to get books done and all that. It's a lot.
Yeah. It's a process and a half. And trust me, I want to get back into making videos, but then also that puts making comics to the backseat. So it's really difficult, you know, to really master those two, especially since I'm like 10 pages away from finishing book number 2 of The Grub, which I'm so happy that I really am focusing on that book, because it is so much fun to put together. And that book kind of established the fun in making comics, and also just learning that I don't have to take the process so serious. You know, I don't have to give it I don't have to put pressure into the comic making process, you know? Because here's the thing, I'm not trying to win an Eisner. I'm not trying to be, you know, some award-winning comic artist. I just want to make comics because it's fun, and I want to make it my living because I want to do what I love, you know? Is that too much to ask for in this day and age? Probably. But you know what? I believe it's worth it. We're just talking Street Fighter's 2026 trailer. If we're talking about if there's a movie, honestly, really can't tell you there, because I have not been very knowledgeable in the cinema scene for a while. I do know that there are some other films that are out there that I really want to check out, like Project Hail Mary. I heard that did pretty good, and I kind of want to check it out, see what that's all about.
Oh man, it is so good. Ryan went on and on and on about it on the 5-star feed, and I was like, it cannot possibly be that good. I was wrong. It is absolutely 100%
And
that good.
speaking of the 5-star feed, you had a very interesting guest on your episode, or on that in that.
Yeah, we did. We had, oh goodness, I'm blanking on his name now. God, I gotta look it up. Because it's like 2 first names. That's what's really throwing me about it. We had Philip Andrew. That's because I know a Philip and an Andrew. That's why it's throwing me off so bad.
Okay.
We had Philip Andrew, who was the 6th Ranger on Power Rangers Wild Force season. And anyway, he was on last week, and he'll be on again this week because it's a rerun. So you can catch at least the first half of the show, because it's only going to let me do like the first 30 minutes of the show on the rerun for some reason. But anyway, that's going to be re-airing tonight on all the 5-star YouTube channels and stuff, hopefully. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was wild. It was interesting to hear him talk about it. And like, he's my age, so he was really too old for Power Rangers when it came out, and like knew it was a kid show but didn't really get it. And then all of a sudden, you know, he's an actor, you know, working in Hollywood, and gets called back a whole bunch of times. And you know, they brought him out like 100 times to talk about this, and finally they wanted to bring him out again, and his agent was like, no, we're done with this. You've seen him 100 times. Either hire him or don't. And they're like, okay, we'll hire him. And he got the job. Crazy as that is. It is wild.
That is some insanity, I tell you. You know what? Let's actually add something here.
There we go.
He's a druid.
Turn it down.
You know, I should think that like druids and, you know, characters that are robotic should be like Beast Wars Transformers in a weird way, because they have the ability to transform into animals, and that would actually be very interesting to see this kind of character like transform himself from like this robotic kind of person to then doing something very animalistic. So with that in mind, ooh, okay, I can see him kind of almost having like ox-like features, maybe.
Benjamin says the duck looks like he has a snake tail for some reason. Give me time, man. Or just politely tell me my work sucks.
Maybe a robot alien could be made from a biomechanical material. True. I remember seeing this one fan art of what somebody did of Optimus Primal from Beast Wars, and they made some segments look like actual flesh and like, you know, the meaty parts of it because of the fact that they transformed into animals, which is a really interesting thing that I wish they would have dove into. So that's not a bad idea.
That's terrifying and interesting.
Now the question is, what would he actually turn into? That's the real question. Especially because this is from the Chinese pantheon of sorts. So, me totally not at all looking up Chinese pantheon creatures in any way, shape, or form.
What if whenever you guys roll a 12 on the pantheon table, those characters become the protagonist team that keeps growing when you guys roll 12s again and again?
That is not a bad idea.
That could be interesting. Oh man, that's something I hadn't even thought of until right there. Like having the role they play in the story be something that we roll for. Like, are they a main character? Are they a side character? You know, where in the importance of the story do they rank? That would be weirdly dangerous because you could end up coming up with like a really amazing character, but you roll with like a D level rank for him. Oh man, that makes me sad just thinking about it.
Okay. I don't know. Like I said, this entire world is really. I'm really trying to let this world cook because it is definitely out of our wheelhouse, at least out of my wheelhouse, for sure.
I never know what I'm doing, so I'm used to flying by the seat of my pants.
I mean, yeah, I feel like with the other seasons, it felt there was like a type of structure, but it felt like there was some kind of an end goal to them. Like we knew what we were kind of doing. But this one is like, this is again, new format, a new way that we're drawing out these characters. So that's what's always like, that's what's really throwing me off right now is the fact that we're having to go through this new system of doing it. Because I remembered I tried pitching the idea for the season of like, you know, what if we basically, honestly, we could have just rolled from the alien table and then just been like, all right, that's what like mainly lives in this world, and then we'll just kind of spawn it off from there. I wanted to kind of treat like the alien species like the Na'vi, where you have like the land variants, then you have the water variants, and then so on and so forth. And then I was thinking like, oh, we can take those mainline aliens and then like we can push them into different cultures. So like imagine, if you will, I took this exact kind of robot, but then you saw the not just the Chinese, but then you saw the Egyptian rendition, then you saw, you know, the Aztec rendition. You know, so it's like that is at least something that I was planning on like structuring out. But again, pressure makes diamonds. So, you know, and also this is probably a challenge that I really need more than anything else. So I need to really force myself to be like, all right, we gotta try it out here. Don't knock it before we, you know, don't knock it while we're trying it.
Yeah, everything doesn't have to end up being gold either. That's one of my favorite things about this is that it pushes us to try new things, and you know, not everything is going to come out amazing, but occasionally you come up with some pretty cool things out of that.
Oh yeah.
And it wouldn't have got there, you know, like I never would have rolled up a Teddy Ruxpin assassin robot if, you know, I hadn't been stuck to a random set of tables throwing me nonsense. but now I really dig the character and really kind of want to do something with him somehow, somewhere.
Here, I'm really trying to find some inspo to go from here. I'm just throwing ideas at y'all. Hopefully they're all helpful. Oh, trust me. Anything works. Imagine mysterious characters making armor for the creatures made of nature, like dragons made of rocks and trees. Interesting. Interesting indeed.
Oh, that would be an interesting idea too. If he took a blacksmith's approach to being a druid, because he only understands how to work with materials like you would create another robot. So like trying to force things into being other things, where like a human druid might grow a house out of trees and mushrooms and things, and have a couch grow up out of lovely mushrooms and ferns and whatnot to sit on. He's just sitting here smashing and carving and cutting and forcing. It's just an idea, but that would be an interesting take to me on the idea. But
This do be an interesting one, and I like the. And again, I'm trying to go off of like the Dungeons and Dragons method of druid, where he essentially like he can transform into like an animal, because that's also that's like that's something that they can do. They can actually like in Dungeons and Dragons
wild form. I was trying to think of the name of it earlier, and I couldn't remember it.
What was that again?
Wild form, or at least that's what it used to be.
Wild shape.
Back in the day.
That's the one.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It was wild shape. I don't know what they changed it to now, because they always keep coming up with new additions for D&D. I can definitely see this being a lot more of a slimmer kind of a thing. Probably like, again, it's very Bronze Age too. So like trying to see how this all kind of works out. Now, why or how was he made is the question. Was he an automaton imbued with the powers of nature, but yet doesn't know how to fully operate it yet?
Was he a robot made by druids, or was he just adopted by druids?
And then using the druidic nature as a means of trying to understand this world.
Dragon Gaming said maybe at the very end of the season we pick the protagonist from all the characters that we made by rolling, and spend the rest of the episode figuring out the story. Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
That's
either.
not. So then that way we don't happen to have like a set, so then that way we don't really go out of our way making one, because we already have them. It's just more or less, what do we do from it?
Mm-hmm. Just figure out like who grows naturally to be some of the more interesting characters for the season.
Yeah, because if we came up with protagonist, like, I guess in a weird way, because it's like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's like, yeah, we could make main characters that could be very easy. Plus, we have a plot to then have them like go around meeting the other characters, probably fighting off some greater evil. Or we could be established in finding people who already live in this world and has their own kind of established vibe, if you will, and we get to see how they try to operate, not just in their section of the world, but how they're eventually going to travel around, and seeing how they're going to like either like integrate themselves, or try to find a way to not work with them, or something along the lines of that. It's very, very interesting. And the doggos be screeching, they be barking.
Man, freaking wiener dogs, man. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I just thought it was going to be wiener jokes and lots of snuggling. No. They are bred to be noisy.
Thing is, the wife wants a
No
dog.
choice I would have made.
The wife wants a dog so desperately, and I'm like, I'm not. You know, I never grew up with many. I only had a bunny, some turtles, fish. Not you, pet fish.
Oh man, dude, you need a dog.
Do I though? Do I?
Now, granted, I'm a dog person, so I question if there really are people that aren't dog people, or if it's just like dog people with some kind of emotional baggage that end up preferring cats or something else instead. I could be wrong, but I find it hard to believe. I could not imagine spending my life without dogs around. I have two cats. I could easily imagine not having them around right now, but one of them has been around so long that like he's grandfathered in. I as much as I want to get rid of him sometimes because he's getting old and crotchety and is getting mean and has started like peeing on things because he's mad that my son brought in a new cat. And well, I sometimes would like to just say, okay, that's it. You're done. You're out of here. I can't do it. He's grandfathered in. He's been here so long at this point. He's been in the family nearly as long as I have. So he's staying, he's riding it out. But the new one, I'm like, man, you're young enough and sweet enough. I could rehome your stinky little butt. But I love her. She's so sweet. And she loves me so much. It's so hard to be so allergic to something and get so frustrated with something that loves you so much. It is a weird feeling. Like I've been around cats that did not like me and the feeling was mutual. My roommate at one point one of my roommates had a cat and it was very jealous that there was anybody else in the roommate's life around them and like peed on all my comics. I hated that cat. That cat hated me equal. Like we did not get along. But this one, like I don't hate the cat. I just wish she would quit peeing on things that she shouldn't pee on and quit making Cooter pee on things he shouldn't pee on because he's angry and old and bitter. But she loves me so much and just will not quit loving on me and constantly wanting to sit on me and purr and make a scene, and my wife's just laughing at me because I'm angry at this thing that's just rolling around on me in pure heaven. Just could not be happier. It's supposed to be my son's cat. So why is it on me all the time? That's what I want to know. Nobody's telling me.
I just don't want to pay the pet fee for my apartment.
Oh, I don't blame you one bit. I don't blame you one bit for that. Benjamin says, I'm a cat person, but it's more of a sensory thing. Not found loud noises. I get you there, man. Which is why you'll never see me at a con. Because you'll be invisible. Oh, crap. I just threw my pen being stupid.
I'm going to go for the vibe that this is a druidic. It's like I'm drawing a Beast Wars Transformers here. He's just meant to turn into a dragon.
Okay, so thank y'all for coming to Roll for Hero.
Yeah,
this has been a fun episode.
Oh, my nose is so freaking annoying right now because it just wants me to sneeze so desperately, and I don't want to. My Lord. Okay.
Huh.
Okay.
Well, if anybody was wondering, I do in fact have the power. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Whoa, hey, listen, man. I ain't even armed over here. Wait, hold on. I am actually. Yes, I don't want to pull them out. Too much work. I got too many swords. There we go. Tennessee character would be.
I'll be danged.
Yeah,
I think I threw it through the wall out the other side of the house.
And no clip to the back rooms. Could be a Transformers character? Yeah, pretty much, honestly. Maybe this could be like one of the first quote unquote Cybertronian like creatures that live in this ancient world, you know. I'm thinking of Predacon Transformer or a rare Decepticon or Autobot that can transform into a creature. That's pretty much the situation here. The thing is, though, I don't think this dude works for any faction. Again, he's a blacksmith, so he's actually creating weapons. Maybe the way that I'm probably thinking about it is that since he's a druid, he has the ability to commune with nature. So I feel like he could use you know, his like communication to nature, or like maybe he's the first automaton that is somehow able to, like be on the same frequency as nature, going as far as to actually being able to communicate with it, even going as far as to taking what may be like a dead stone and somehow managing to make it work with him as like some form of ore. Like he could probably turn a rock into, like a warhammer of some kind. Again, probably like create like, it's like if you took a droid from Star Wars or something like that, but then you made it like a Jedi. I feel like this would be like a weird, naturey, force sensitive, droid. I don't know. I'm figuring it out.
That's a neat idea, though.
And of course, it chooses the one form that I think is very much a universal concept here on our own world. Is a dragon. Like we have dinosaurs, we have and I feel like that dinosaur. Crazy crackhead theory here. I think dragons are actually just dinosaurs that just happen to be here. That's what I think, and it would make sense because every culture has one.
Mm-hmm. And they all look a whole lot more in the original stuff like dinosaurs than they do like our fantasy dragons. Like way more often do they have like feathers and two big legs and and wings or something, which honestly I wonder if like I saw something on a TikTok or something about how considering what if like dinosaurs like the Tyrannosaurus maybe had wings on those short little arms that don't reach anything. What if they had like decorative wings on there, sort of like ostriches do, where they could flap and like flash colors and things for like mating rituals and stuff? And that would look a whole lot more like a lot of medieval drawings of dragons that we've seen.
There we go. And not only that, but maybe my character in particular ended up taking the form of a universal concept, a dragon, because it's one of the most common, like, life forms that everyone can kind of acknowledge. And it's like, oh, like, and that's probably the reason why it attunes so well to the frequency of nature, because of the fact that it, because it chose like a universal animal that is received all throughout the world.
That reminds me of a story I wrote years ago for the original book I tried self-publishing that is now Alice Lost in Wonderland. At the whole thing in the first issue was this alien was trying to end his life because he had seen that in the prophecy, because they're psychic, he had seen that he brought about the end of his world. And so he left his world, which was blasphemy, because his people saw their world as the center of the universe and all life sprang from them and everything else is an inferior, creation below them, and super high and mighty and full of themselves. And so he runs away from his planet so as to not die there and fulfill the prophecy. And so they send the character who is now Rabbit to go track him down because he can travel dimensions and stuff. And so he finds him, brings him back, and then in punishment for his crimes, one of the elder priests gets mad and kills him, and which brings about the prophecy and unleashes these dragons, which in my story, the dragons were just these perfect spheres. Like, I honestly, like, everything else was inked by hand with a brush, and they were done in the computer, perfect circle with a perfect circular gradient. So they looked so unnatural in the scene of the comic book against everything else. And the point of them being dragons was they were the original beings called dragons, and they were so powerful that in a lot of stories they get referred to as genies and stuff, because their power over reality is just so strong that they can basically make whatever they want happen. They are terrifyingly powerful. But because they're so powerful, every species that has ever encountered them ends up naming their scariest animals dragons. So, like in the fantasy version of the worlds that Rabbit would go to, he would, occasionally face off against dragons and stuff. And they were just like named after these big spheres that were so terrifying to the ancient people. I thought that was funny. And then Doctor Who goes and does the same thing years later in their story. And I was proud that an idea I had was also an idea that, some of the best writers in the world, in my opinion, came up with. But also, I was kind of like, hey, you took my toy. But I wasn't doing anything with it, and they did something really cool with it, so I'm not going to complain. Beyond the 5 people that are watching right now. Are you still there, or you freeze on me? Or did I freeze? Sound off in the comments if you can tell. Oh, he's gone. There, he's back. Okay, are you there? Can you hear me? He gone. So hopefully it's just a him problem and not a me problem. Sound off in the comments if you can hear me yapping. Yep, Mr. E vanished, all right. It's a mystery where Mr. E went. Let's see.
Mr. E, am I here? Yay, nay.
Yep, you're here. I hear you.
All right.
I can see.
I don't know what happened. My computer was trying to crash out.
Couple days, I'll even be able to give you a big old bear hug.
There we go. All right.
All right, cool. Dragon Gaming. Let me in. I was a little worried that maybe nobody could hear me too.
All right, we're good now. Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what that was all about.
It's the lovely world of the interwebs. Anything can happen.
At this point, I need to actually get a better professional PC setup because,
Well, yeah, if you're going to do much streaming and stuff, I keep telling myself I'm going to upgrade to a better video card for this thing.
All right. And now everything's all back in order. Something else. So I'm going to try to play with an aspect of this design here. And I want to play with like the dragon wings a little bit. And like use it as like the apron for the blacksmith.
See, that's the thing. Summer Bandit 888. I used to get so bent out of shape when I would come up with an idea for a superhero and a background story and all that stuff. And then, every time I would come up with a character, it would feel like no more than 6 months. And then I would see it either in a Marvel comic or an indie comic or something, and it would be nearly the exact same character, same name, same costume beats a lot of the time. And I got so paranoid for a while that I started to wonder if somebody wasn't just following me around, stealing my little middle school ideas and, selling them to Marvel, which makes a whole lot of sense.
Given today's day and age, I really wouldn't be surprised if that actually did happen.
Eventually I realized, A, most of my ideas weren't all that terribly unique, and they were just ripping off the same stuff I was ripping off. But also, like you said, a lot of us will be inspired by the same things. Like, if you look over my work at all and you see some of the stuff that is in Alice Lost in Wonderland, and especially the Mighty Call of the Cro-Magnon, then you're not going to be terribly surprised that I was really excited when the new He-Man movie came out, because it's pretty obvious that I like that stuff. And so, a lot of things that happen in there keep getting reused. Like, one of my favorite types of bad guy is the evil clone, which a lot of people hate, but it's my favorite, and it's not because of Bizarro or anything. It's because of Faker from He-Man. It blew my mind as a kid that they could put blue plastic in the same mold and paint the hair orange and put an orange copy of Skeletor's gear on him, and you had a whole new character, and it blew my mind. I could not take it as a little kid, and the possibilities were endless to me at that point. And it's also when I realized that He-Man was a toy. And I mean, not that I didn't know it was a toy, but
it started
that it
off.
was manufactured. It was manufactured by somebody. And then I started to realize how many parts they reused and which parts were original. And, and it all became way more interesting to me then, as I realized how all this stuff worked, and realized, hey, somebody had to sculpt this and somebody had to paint this. And maybe there are more creative jobs out there that I could get to do other than, just being an accountant. And so that was instrumental in my growth as an artist. But yeah, we're all inspired by all the same stuff, and end up hitting on a lot of the same ideas. The chat's going so fast I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, both DC do rip each other off. They do that a lot. I mean,
oh yeah,
because Deadpool from Marvel is a ripoff of Deathstroke from DC. That is also true.
100%. Imagine if the duck alien encounters the birds of a feather team from the Cyberpunk universe. There's the crossover we didn't know we needed.
Man, it's been a minute.
Now we do.
Honestly, I can't tell
Thanks to
which
Dragon
one.
King.
We have so many other worlds and universes that we could be expanding on. The hard part is just choosing one, because obviously I like the random nature of what we roll up, because obviously, it does put us in a position to really force our creativity. But then on the other hand, it is nice if we probably went back to visit something. Like, for instance, we have an entire Steam.
Oh, it would be so much fun to just sit back and do superheroes and villains, because that's easy. I could do that all day long.
I mean, you practically.
But that's. Oh yeah, that is. I mean, it's literally what I do all day. But that's why I like pushing ourselves into. I had never heard the word sandal-punk until I saw it on that list, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure he knows what it is. We'll figure it out." And I've had to look into it and figure stuff out, but I'm digging it. It pushed me into places that I wouldn't have gone otherwise, and I love that, because I'm really starting to dig this character. And I did not think going into this, I did think about immediately when I saw him roll up, I thought about offering to switch, just because I knew it was going to be a pain to have to come up with something for that. And I was like, well, I can take that hit for, he's my buddy. I can help him out.
Thanks.
But I'm telling you, I'm really liking this dude now. He's getting a bad, don't mess with me, Zen master warrior dude.
He has the what's it called, the Mr. Miyagi effect, if you will. He looks calm, very wax on, wax off. But then you mess with him.
It doesn't look like a major threat till you mess with him. Yeah, I'm digging it.
I think I unintentionally did a toyetic aesthetic with this one. Like I'm using the dragon wing. So instead of one wing, and then I was gonna try to do like, the wings doing different like, poses, but instead making both of them the apron, would actually make a lot more sense. And again,
I like that idea. And it's interesting to have it around his waist as opposed to having it around his shoulders, like in Gargoyles, they wear it like a cape.
yep,
The apron is a really interesting take that I've never seen before.
because it's a blacksmith, and a lot of blacksmiths, they tend to
Yeah.
aprons and stuff like that. So I want to try to play into
Mhm.
that kind of aesthetic. So I want to kind of see
Oh, yeah. I love it.
where this kind of took me. I think I like the idea of getting to probably make this like, I like what they were saying, like it's like a biomechanical thing. So like it probably
Mhm.
looks like a really meaty, like there are parts that look very like, meat textured or fleshy, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Crossover with the Grub and Jupiter Jack would be fun.
Oh my lord, I would.
That-
That would be a fun thing to do. I have like because I actually have some fun lore for that whole world as well. I was like, as I'm at work, I'm kind of talking to myself like, what's gonna happen? How does this world even work? What's going on here? And ultimately, if I had to pitch it, it's like the deeper context behind it. It's like, what if Spider-Man was made after the events of Infinity War? But it turns out when everyone got snapped back to the world itself, they ultimately brought back another superhero universe in the process as well. So that's also the reason why you're going to find like, DC knockoff characters in this world as well. Like he's going to probably encounter, his world's rendition of the Teen Titans, but it's actually like, basically like, what if when it snapped, Marvel and DC's worlds combined and created the world that they now live in? So that's actually, there's an event that happens in this world.
Oh, what if it combined like the cartoon world and, the MCU type stuff, and like you could have so many different characters working together in this same world, because like you could have like literal cartoony type villains and stuff out there
Oh,
that
yeah.
can pull stuff out of hammer space, and then have, like super dramatic villains and stuff that are like way over the top, unnecessarily moody and emo. And
That's
cool.
no. So, okay, I'm going to be sorry for everyone for the absence. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Grubs world, so that way there's some more stuff that happens. So yeah, you're not going to learn about how all this goes down until like at some point in time, because obviously I want to focus on the character. But what happens in this world, there's an event that these worlds remember. It's called the Great Galactic War, right? Essentially, this was like the Infinity War. This was like the Crisis on Infinite Earth type story for the DC world. They were both having to fight, like Darkseid and Thanos, if you will, or at least their world's rendition of them. And then essentially in the Marvel universe, or like in this ultra value Marvel-like universe where the Grub is from, remember the Grub isn't made at this time. So of course, when somebody snapped everyone back into reality, they ended up bringing the entirety of a whole new universe that was suffering through a similar problem. So now this Earth is a merged combination of a Marvel and a DC style world with Marvel and DC style kinds of heroes. So you'll have characters like a Batman type character interacting with Captain America. You would have Superman interacting with, with like the Nova Corps kind of a situation. Like they're going to merge at some point. So then the question of like the world of the Grub is like, what happens? Or like basically it's more like, what if Spider-Man was made after the Infinity War, after Crisis on Infinite Earth, and he's just now like one of the newer heroes in this day and age. So then there's actually a funny bit that actually goes on in this world that it's like, hey, which side were you from? Were you from the red one or from the blue one? So then it's like, I can imagine like these two, because in the book, I want to make like a joke with these Exterminator characters that I'm working on in issue 2. And they're like, oh man, I tell you, ever since the Great Galactic War or like the Great Merge is what some of these other people call it. They're like, yeah, ever since the Great Merge, I tell you, it's really hard to tell if you're from like my world or from your world, or I don't even know what's going on these days. It's like, what are you saying about my world? It's like, are you from their world? It's like, I don't know. Who's your heroes? I don't know, who are yours? Like it's like dumb little things like those that, you know, make the world feel a lot more.
Get in a fight with your own side over which side's like getting in a like two henchmen getting in a fight over, you know, the Cubs and the Bears or whatever.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, man, I tell you that one here's annoying. Oh yeah, which one? The one that dresses all in black and does this and does that. It's like, you're gonna have to be a lot more specific. You know, the one that actually looks like a bit more of a rat. Oh, I see the confusion. See, ours is dressed like a mouse. So I can see where we're getting confused here. We have Mighty Mouse. What do you guys have? We have Rat Man. Okay. Dumb little combos like those, I think, would help make the that is beautiful. Sorry about that. My father has sent me some images. I asked him to we got an embroidery, or my dad has an embroidery machine, so he is able to make shirts with my logo on them. So, and he made.
Why does your dad have an embroidery machine?
He doesn't.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Why doesn't he have one? Why does he have a coffee company? Why does he have 5?
Why do I not? Is the real question.
Why did this bald-headed Puerto Rican man end up getting with some crazy Colombian woman and having 5 kids? I don't know.
Okay, now we're getting off topic. I want to know about the embroidery machine.
Just because it's honestly, he's been a jack of all trades kind of guy. Growing up, he he did a lot of businesses. He's done a lot of work and stuff like that.
He's got the ADD, you say?
I don't even know at this point. But it's more like, I don't know. He's entrepreneurial. My dad's a big entrepreneur. And yeah, he taught us what it's like. Like, he told us, like, he wants us to work for ourselves. He wants us to be our own boss, to own our own companies and all that other kind of stuff. He taught that to my older brother. He taught it for me. He taught it for my little brothers. He's ensuring that my sisters are doing the same exact thing as well. You know, because he doesn't want us to be lazy bums. He wants us to start our own businesses so that we can take charge of our own lives. And he's done exactly that. Because he is, oh my God, if I say it, it sounds like an 8-year-old describing their favorite like superhero. He's like this, that, and everything else, because he's a member of a Christian Latin rock band. He is a pastor. He is a chaplain sheriff for, you know, the police department that he's a part of. What else? Obviously an entrepreneur. He owns a coffee business, father, husband, and what else there? Obviously, he's got a lot going on. He does a little bit of everything all the time. Just a little bit of everything all the time. I bet these are traffic.
Okay, I know these people. I know these people well. So okay. That makes perfect sense. Why your dad, the pastor, had a embroidery machine was leaving me with very many questions. Why your ADD dad, who also happened, one of his many things he focused on was pastor, along with all these other interests, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. I get that, because I was the same way. Like, I mean, I spent years learning glass etching. I had a mural business that did real well for a while. I did logos and stuff. I spent time learning every trade I could because I like gaining knowledge. I like accumulating things I know how to do. And I wanted to be able to offer everything as like a one-stop shop. But it turns out it makes you harder to remember that way.
Oh, yeah. And
when you're the guy that can do everything, you're the guy that gets forgotten. But
trust me, nobody forgets, as he would call himself, Jasonius Maximus III. But you can call him Jay.
That's my kind of guy.
Oh yeah, I mean, also, like I said, he's a jack of all trades too. Like, he has done basically everything. He obviously didn't grow up in the most, financially best environment, so he made do with what he had. You know, my grandfather, my dad's dad, he ended up inspiring him. He got him like this. I forgot what it was. It was some kind of a musical type of instrument, of some kind, and it inspired my dad to go to college, be a production guy. Hence how he, got with my mom, because my mom's brother, my uncle, ended up becoming the lead guitarist and lead singer for their band that they have been, going all around Latin America. They've done all of it. They traveled, and, the way that my dad used to say that he used to be a rock star on the weekend, because every other weekend he always had a gig elsewhere,
Mm-hmm.
He even used to do the,
Oh yeah, my kids traveling everywhere, playing in the band we were in, and we're our roadies. Help load in equipment and stuff, and set up my drum set and all that.
yeah. I mean, that was a cool thing about it. But then, of course, my dad wanted to ensure that his kids would make sure that they would do basically the same thing. Because if he got to go and be a musician, feeding 5 kids and a wife, that is, first of all, that's no easy feat to do. Being a musician in a very niche demographic of music, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that they were managing, not only that, he made a living off of that. They sold albums and shirts and all that other kind of stuff. Like, it was, but then again, that's what fed us. That's what put food on the table. And my dad takes, he's very much thankful for the fact that he was able to do that. And I mean, my uncle was just as thankful. I mean, had it not been for him coming up with all these different kinds of songs, they wouldn't be able to travel around the world, doing what they do.
Yep. I did not travel that far at all, but we did have fun going around playing in lots of little churches and stuff. And I miss that time with my boys. It was a fun time when they were young, but they were old enough to actually be really helpful, and to see them build relationships with the other guys in the band and know that they had people they could talk to when they needed to, besides just me and their mom, and they could build their own strong friendships. And it really made them get out and be more mature in the world, because we were always going places and new places and talking to new people and doing new things, and they couldn't just kind of hide behind my coattails and be like, okay, Dad, you talk to the strangers. And really proud of who they grew up to become. You caught me. I love my boys. No, a father shouldn't admit such things, but what can I say?
Are you kidding me? In today's day and age, a functional father in a household is a rarity these days.
I'm telling you.
But yeah,
I was surprised when I found out my son's fiance, which, by the way, my youngest just got engaged. I was surprised when I found out his fiance's parents were still married. But that doesn't happen very often anymore. I mean, at least I asked this time. Last time this came up with a kid, and admittedly, this was like 15 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Was the last time this issue came up with a kid that I was talking to. And I was trying to be ginger about it. I was like, okay, so is that your mom or is that your dad? And he's just like, yes, that's my dad. Yes, that's my mom. Yes, my parents are still married. And he just went into this defeated, oh, I have to say this for the 10,000th time attitude. And I felt so bad, because we were at church. I was leading the youth group this kid was coming to, but it just never entered my head in a million years that this teenager's parents could still possibly be married to like their high school sweetheart. And they were, I mean,
it is a rarity these days.
It is.
It is a rarity.
It's uncommon.
It is. And I mean, honestly, because what's it called? I mean, heck, even my in-laws, they had from the stories that I was told, they had rough patches here and there, and they were like on the verge of that kind of situation, but they stuck through to it. Not only that, it actually kind of broke a chain, if you will, because divorce was very prevalent on my mother-in-law's side of the family. So for her, she hunkered down. It's like, no, we have kids. We can't be separated. We need to be part of their lives. We can't be in any of this kind of nonsense. So they really hunkered down to it. And thankfully, I have a somewhat emotionally stable wife. So, I mean, hey, I'm winning to an extent.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing when people can do it right. I have also seen people that are doing it for all the wrong reasons. And, like, admittedly, me and my ex-wife, we made it to 23 years, I think. And if I had had any say in it, I would have stayed till I died. I also, would not have complained if I had died 5 years ago because I was ready to get out. But my autistic self, and my faith, I was like, I made a promise. It doesn't matter if, I got lied to in that promise. And, if I bought the car under under false circumstances and it turned out to not be what I thought it was going to be, I bought it. That's it. I'm done. I made this agreement. I'm going to stick it out. And I tried to do the best I could, and I was ready to stay forever. But that wasn't necessarily the right thing in a bad situation. Looking back now and being in therapy and talking with my kids about stuff, my kids would have been a lot happier and healthier if I had gotten out soon. And I couldn't admit that to myself. Um, and my ex stayed purely out of, no, I am not going to be one of those people talk about that got divorced. Wasn't about I love you so much I can't stand the thought of not being your wife. It was just, I don't want people to laugh at me because I got divorced. And that's not a good reason for staying.
I think this all started.
But when you can do it right, it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, it is. And to think this entire conversation spawned off from questioning why my dad has an embroidery machine.
Yeah. As the deep conversations do, they usually start with embroidery.
Really just sewing in to the topic in conversation as I am about to sneeze. Are we happy now? God, my nose. I swear this thing wants to attack me every 5 seconds.
Man, this cat has been killing me. I'm so allergic to it, and it loves me so much. It's driving me up the wall.
All right, I think I got something down here.
I am digging my little green platypus mentor Zen warrior dude. Like, I very much see him as like a Splinter, like the Kung Fu master kind of guy who spends all day studying and meditating and practicing in the mountains by himself, and studies how water drops on a rock for 30 years and now can jab his claw through a boulder and crack it in half. Kind of dude.
I think I know what his elemental power is. Green. Your elemental power.
But yes, to answer Benjamin's comment earlier, Benjamin, who goes under the screen handle Captain Obvious on Instagram, notice that the duck's going to be green. I just thought it was an interesting vibe. Being a druid, I thought originally I started with green accents on the cloak would be neat, and I just based the whole thing green so I knew everything was colored, and it makes it easier to go in when I'm recoloring things to not leave little gaps. Like if I just made it white, that blends in with the background so much I wouldn't notice all the little gaps that I left white. So it's a trick I picked up to make sure I get everything colored. And the more I worked with the green, the more I liked it. And I was like, you know what? He's an alien platypi anyway, so I'm going to go with that. I like him balancing up on his tail, almost serpentine, like him being a short dude with a great big tail, but he can rise up on it like a snake, ready to strike and get up in your face. And how like he would keep his heel claws covered with all of his robes and stuff, but could instantly if he wants to. But also, could pull up a whole wall of thorns to surround you or whatever, or, create some tree golems or something, or any number of terrible things that he wanted to do with nature at his control. But just I dig the thought of this dude just spending his little Zen life up on the mountainside, communing with nature, and people seeking him out to teach his ways, and
How many times am I gonna roll? Let's figure this out. Hello.
and I disappeared.
Oh, now you're back.
Lost
Right.
all the comments.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we'll see what we do with this.
Dragon Gaming had said, "What are the stories y'all are thinking about for your characters, and where they're from?" And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking my dude spends all his time alone on a hillside, beautiful rolling hills with alien bamboo and whatnot, and just communes with nature. And people seek him out for his knowledge, or seek him out to try and take him out so he doesn't share his knowledge. But everybody leaves his mountain changed, he says. One way, for the better or worse, you will leave the mountain different than you came up.
You will leave my mountain changed. Good or bad, you will never know. Just trying to figure out how to make this work, because I kind of like I like what I got going on here to an extent. How it looks like a robot, I don't know. Maybe the whole point that he's probably not a robot. Maybe just, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out as I go. Like, I like how it looks. But
The beast former idea is a neat idea.
yeah.
I was thinking, like, if I was using him, I was going to steer into the like stone golem kind of thing, like he was carved out of stone or something, which could be interesting for a beast former too, like to have a humanoid stone form and then transform into a dragon form. Could be really cool. Even if the dragon form stayed stone looking, could be really cool.
Wrong there.
I love the way you got the head making the upper body of the apron. Like,
Yep.
I really dig that. That's really cool.
All right. Maybe we can just take this color. I'm going to make that look more apron-like, and then probably darken some of these. Again, I'm not going to go super fancy with this one. Really. No, but like for me, I'm just going to go a little scrappy because I need to learn how to just quicken the process, because especially at Tulip City, we got to be fast.
Oh, yeah.
Which I am super excited for Tulip City. I can't believe this even happened. I was actually so close to calling it off. Because I ended up getting a call when we were on our honeymoon of our financial status, and I'm like, oh God, I can't do a thing.
Oh man,
it put me. I was like so discouraged, and I was like so defeated. I'm like, hon, I have to go back to work if I can't. Like, I can't do this. I was about it. Like, I legit was about to tell you I can't do it. But when you showed me the picture of the little thing you drew of us, like for the Tulip City advertisement, I'm like, I have to go. I have to go. I can't. I have to do this now because he's full sending it and I can't just go halfway. So I was this close. Being told of my situation, I was like, and the crazy thing
you
was,
don't need to put yourself in a bad way for it. But then also, I guess you've already bought your ticket and stuff. So.
No. But then here's the thing, though. I was about to call it quits. My wife told me, you have to do this, hon. She told me this. And I'm just like, hon, are you kidding me? She's like, no, you had to do this because this is the thing that's going to get you to where you need to be. I'm like, I get that. I was like, I was super conflicted with this, topic and conversation. But I'm like, once I saw the image, I'm like, I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do this because she's right. It's something that I have to do in order for me to get to where I need to be. So, and it's the push in the right direction.
Perry the platypus. Oh, it's a platypus. Perry the platypus. Perry the Kung Fu Master Platypus.
So yeah, that's actually the first for anyone who hasn't known that. I was so close to calling that off, and I'm like, I can't. So things are gonna look bad.
I'm proud of you for going. I hope it doesn't put y'all in a bad way.
No, we'll be
which my wife has been worried sick about y'all because you're newly married and stuff, and like we all know how flush with cash we are when we are newlywed.
Yeah.
And so she's been worried about you. But I was like, also this is a pretty low stakes way to get your feet wet at a con, and you're not having to put out $1,500 to get a table and all this stuff. I mean, you're an invited guest, and
which is also crazy. I never would have thought I was an invited guest to a con. You kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm a 26-year-old Hispanic kid from Florida who just randomly wanted to start a show rolling up random characters just to take a break from making knockoff superheroes. And here I am.
Yeah.
So go show you kids. It works. We just don't know how.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing. You never really know what's going to work and what's not. But, being prepared and being kind and being the type of person that people want to work with and stuff like that goes a long way. And almost every opportunity I've ever gotten so far have all just come from being nice to people that I work with, and getting along and doing a good job, and being somebody people know they can count on to do what he says he's going to do. And then next thing you know, I'm, getting invited to come help out with 5-Star Comic Con and this, that, and the other. And, it's awesome.
And again, I am first of all, I do have to state that I'm very grateful and very thankful for the fact that not only did Mr. Fish see the value of this show, because obviously he had something like this for a while, but the fact that he got to
do this for
show to be the way that it is, like I said, I never thought I would have gotten to this point, and I'm very happy that we are at this point, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And I mean, not only that, things are starting to look up on my side of things as well, because the wife she does have a job at a bakery or at a restaurant that happens to have a bakery section, because she is a legitimately trained baker. She went to school here in Orlando. It was like Valencia or something like that. So she's an actual, by trade, she is a baker. So she is the reason why I am a fat man. So I can blame it on her.
It's all her fault.
Oh yeah, 100%. You kidding me? She makes a killer red velvet cake, and I knew I was in trouble.
She got a ring the very next day.
Legitimately. It does help that my mother was a former jeweler. So, that does play a very big effect on buying rings.
Oh man, that's my boy for you. He known for thinking things through and taking his time with big decisions. His mom found out he got a ring when she was checking the bank statement, because she got a notification that his account was out of money, and she's like, "What did you spend all your money on?" He's like, "Oh, I bought a ring. I'm gonna ask Olivia to marry me." And she's like, "I've got your dad's ring that he gave to me that you were supposed to get one day." He's like, "Well, I didn't know that." It's like, "Well, you didn't say anything about asking her to marry you either." Like, this just bloop came up out of nowhere all of a sudden. And
at least I did the payment plan, but also I got that thing for a deal. And it met all the criteria too. That was the most important part. The ring had to meet a lot of her criteria, and I'm glad that it did. And also, again, my mother being a former jeweler, working in a jewelry shop, played such a huge effect. It was perfect alignment on everything. All right, we are getting there. I'm actually really, dang, this is looking really good. I got
a question. Is your name Devin, or is it Devontae Edwards? Because that seems to make more sense to me.
It does make sense that way. And hello, how you doing?
I'm just asking, because I don't want to be like Devin said if it's Devontae, but your name could be Alice for all I know, and is just a screen name. But it seems like.
And are you currently
sounds like a
lost
regular
in
name.
Wonderland? That is the real question. Make sure to go get yourself Alice Lost in Wonderland at GoMrFish.com.
Yeah, pick you up a copy today. Maybe you'll find your way home.
And I will have to traverse my way through Michigan. I've never gone to Michigan ever. So this is going to be my first time heading to Michigan in general.
That's actually part of the reason we're going up early, because like we leave tomorrow to go up for a con on Sunday. But my wife has never been to Wisconsin, and we're so close to Wisconsin. We didn't go last time, and so she's like, if we go earlier, it'll be easier on you, and I might could go to Wisconsin. And I was like, baby, if you want to go to Wisconsin, we'll go to Wisconsin. You wanting to go is enough reason. I'll go. And so we're going early just so she can go to Wisconsin.
But not only that, we're also going to be, it turns out, friggin' TS of the Digger fame is going to be at said Tulip City Comic Con. So that's going to be awesome. I get to meet freaking TS Luther and Mr. Fish at the same time. Like, that's like basically meeting Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, in my opinion, in person.
I wouldn't go quite that far, but I get it. Because, like, I remember, man, nobody is going to know who he is. But to me, Luis Rivera was the bomb when I got started working in indie comics. And I so wanted to be like him because he was working on new, different indie comics every day. And, I thought it was his full-time job, but his family has a restaurant too. So he does a lot of work over there. The first time I got to work with him felt like I was getting to work with, like I was inking for Rob Liefeld or something, like I felt like I was working with a big shot, and most people would laugh because both of us are nobodies, but it was a big deal to me because he was doing what I dreamed of doing, and getting to work with him on projects, getting to hire him to ink for me at times was a big deal, and it meant a lot to me. So I get what you mean 100%. He was doing the thing that I wanted to be doing.
And I think I am more or less done with my guy over here. Still pending, but the vibes are there. I like it. I feel like I could do something else with it, but I don't know. I feel like if I push too far, I'm gonna like lose the intention here. Maybe. Who knows? Will I be losing the intention? We'll figure it out.
Tune in next time to see.
Heading to Nevada tomorrow. First, both excited and nervous. Seems very entertaining, very intriguing. Yes, of course. All right.
There we go. He got the silky jammies on.
The elemental power is green. What? Green. Wait, okay, so just let me clarify. You got earth, water, you got earth, fire, ice, lightning, and green. If anyone knows, they know, but I haven't seen the Ninjago movie, but that's where it's from. And man, it's really crazy. I remember when that show came out. I remembered waking up early. Ninjago came out when I was in elementary school. For context, I remember when that show was out. That was the show. And I remember the hype about the Green Ninja drama. That was insanity. Oh my God. We treated that thing with such like high levels of intensity. We were really like, who's going to be the Green Ninja? We all thought it was going to be Kai, but no, it was the main villain's son that he had apparently. It's crazy. Anyways, getting on to the comments. Do you guys ever make it out to the West Coast for cons? No. Haven't. Don't know if
I have not. Yeah. The only way I'm honestly probably going to make it out to the West Coast is if one of my books does well enough that a con or a publisher wants to fly me out there, because it would be hard to fly me out there because I'm a very, very tall man and I don't fit in most seats in most planes because my legs are way too long. And like if I'm not sitting by the doors or something where there's lots of extra room for my legs to spread out, there's just physically no way I can fit in another seat with
Yeah.
these big long stilts. So I don't fly places very often, and I drive, which a lot of people look at it like you're driving 11, 12 hours to get to a con in Michigan for one day. Yeah, I am, because A, that's the way I can get around. It's easier on my body and my Tourette's and stuff to deal with. I don't have to deal with crazy ticks in the airport that would get me kicked off a plane last minute or anything. I don't have to worry about that. There's a bomb in my undercarriage. See, just thinking about getting on a plane gets me ticking out stupid stuff. So I don't have to worry about any of that. I just get in the car. I can be as shaky as I want to be in the car. Nobody cares because my wife's driving.
Joke's on you. I'm covered.
You know, I'm fine with it. Which is also why, like, I can make a little bit bigger, more dramatic display from my booth and take it to a con because I don't have to pack it in a suitcase. I'm packing in the back of my van and driving there. So I can do a little bit more, a little extra, and you know, that's kind of nice. I see dudes that have to be able to pack everything into their carry-on bag, and I'm like, ooh, that's rough.
And that's probably going to be me because, you know, I got some, but not a lot of things left for me to give out at the con. So, like I said, this is going to be the first con that I'll be at as first of all, as an invited guest, but also a vendor as well. So, getting to get out the remaining half of what I have left of the Unbeatables #1, the pocket comics, the grub. It's definitely going to be something. So,
and definitely bring some drawing utensils because there'll be lots of opportunity to, you know, try and take commissions and stuff. TS got a lot of drawing commissions last year. Sold a lot of his Spider-Man prints and stuff too. For not being an artist, TS sold a lot of prints and artwork last time. I was really proud of him. I think he sold more than I did, but I was only really focused on trying to sell books at the time anyway. Because I was trying to get hard numbers on selling my books. Because for a long time, I've done like caricatures and stuff at shows, and I always end up making more money doing caricatures than I do anything else. And usually make my table back and all that stuff in just caricatures. So I wanted to take that caveat out and see at a few shows what is it like just selling books, and I did not make as much money. So does he say maximize or terrorize when he transforms?
that is a great question.
Dragon. Oh man, to like a burst of fire and he reforms in a fireball and then comes out would be so freaking cool.
I will not be disrespected in my domain.
That would be epic.
I give you, and what I give you is what you shall have.
Okay, here's my question.
Here's the
When he
potential answer.
transforms into a dragon, what size is he now? Is he like human size, or is he giant?
We can play off of Soundwave methods here.
Because see, I was thinking like if he's like human sized, but then transforms and grows into like a giant dragon, that would be really cool. Much like freaking Megatron can go from this big giant dude into a pistol a human can carry and shoot, or Soundwave can carry and shoot, which doesn't make any sense because those are two wildly different sizes. But again, Soundwave can go down to a boombox that a person can carry on their shoulder. So, you know,
I like to
and
think
he's
this is where we can play with the magical aspect because this is like a fantasy sci-fi-ish kind of world. So maybe the innards of the rest of the dragon are actually like hidden in a little like pocket realm, if you will, like the equivalent of like bag of holding or something like that. So when he transforms into the dragon, the rest of that dragon portion pops out, making him probably bigger.
oh my god, that would make Transformers so much easier. If you could just stick a bag of holding in there, so you could just like, you know, semi truck just into there and pull out the robot arms and we're done. That would be so much easier. But then somebody would accidentally pull it inside out and rip a hole into the nether
Fabric of
realm.
space and time.
Yeah. So
I can't tell. Should I do the orange for the face or should
Dragon Forge. Oh my god. That's what he screams out when he transforms. Maximize or terrorize, because I mean he's literally forging things, and a dragon blacksmith is just a brilliant idea anyway. That's taking it in a really wild, interesting direction. And I am really impressed with the character you came up with.
I'm just
like
surprised
my dude. I think he's cool. I think he could have a cool backstory someday and could be as cool as Splinter, perhaps.
Dude,
But
I'm not even gonna lie.
off the cuff,
I would
looks
not be
awesome.
surprised. Okay, you know how you have those little moments where you go, like, you know, you have your freakouts. This is my freakout because, as I stated before, I wish I could find it somewhere. I have this old picture, and it's literally of like I have 5 you know, I have the drawing here. Where are you at? Where are you at? You are most likely that's Roll for Hero. You are probably in Other Ideas, and Other Ideas have where is you? You is here. These guys, the Super Action Fighting Turtles, just to kind of give off that, you know, like same pronunciation as like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There we go.
There we go. Super Action Fighting Turtles. Super
Action Fighting Turtles. Super Action Fighting Turtles. Heroes that are action. Or something like that. But it's like the way that I thought about it, because I had these other turtle concepts, because again, they ironically are my favorite animal. And yes, I live in Florida, so, you know.
Oh man, I love turtles so much. Before the Ninja Turtles. I'm old enough to say
me. But it's like you have the samurai turtle, you have like the only female ninja turtle, you have the freaking, I call this one Turtle Tank, the one who's like flying with the wings and stuff like that. You have the gunslinger turtle, then you have the adventure turtle, who's like, you know, the leader of this entire group. And then I did draw like a duck as their mentor. And this little platypus character you have here might as well be the Splinter for these guys.
Oh yeah. And yes, Summer Bandit 888. I do remember the Silverhawks. I was actually just watching the Silverhawks Monday. I found out that they're on Tubi, and I immediately went over and started watching them. And while it is not as good as the Thundercats, it is still relatively watchable. I do not like any of the villains really in Silverhawks. They had some really great ideas, but Silverhawks really went more for, here's a cool toy idea. Let's make cool toy ideas. Okay, you guys make a story around that. And, you know, Thundercats knocked it out of the park with most of their ideas, except for the Burbles. And Silverhawks really gave it a go. But man, there's some characters in there like Yes Man that make me want to pull my eyelids off. But yeah, I've been watching Silverhawks. I enjoy it. But yes, boss. Yes. Oh my god, it's like Snarf. I can't stand it. Snarf. I can't stand the repetitiveness. Maybe it's my Tourette's. Maybe it's having common sense. But I couldn't stand it as a kid, and I don't like it now.
So here we go. Here's what we have so far. Are we going to play a nice one here? So episode 1 of this season, we have, of course, our Aztec alchemist paladin from, you know, that region of the world. Then we have our Egyptian turtle-like rogue. And now we have a dragon-forged Dragonforge, I think, is the best name for this guy. We have Dragonforge, the techno-organic, magical dragon automaton. I really love this.
That says it pretty well. Oh,
all right, hold on. We gotta get your full face. I need to see the Mr. Fish here. I know that people
okay. See, that just gave me an idea.
What doesn't ideas?
And you don't have to use the idea, but it just gave me an idea of what if like the wizard or whatever that created him, if he's an automaton, like if he's an artificial creation, what if they used dragon bones and dragon scales and stuff to carve this dude into an automaton, but the inherent magic of those bones and the scales and the leather and stuff that they made from the dragon ended up imbuing him with these dragon abilities and letting him be able to transform into the dragon form. So the whole transformation could be purely magical. Like he could be a mechanical being, like a clockwork automaton that they built out of this stuff. But the inherent magic of what they built him out of lets him transform into a full-blown dragon.
I like that.
That is a pretty cool idea.
Not only that, this character does this feels like a toyetic character. This feels like a character that you could have as an action figure, like straight up. Like I could see this not as a Beast Wars Transformer. If someone could turn this dude into that would be freaking sick. Because transforming mechanics is probably going to be one of the hardest things that anyone could ever do. So my freaking hat off to the Transformer toy designers, because that's not freaking easy. But that is not a bad idea. Plus, it would actually establish like the mystery of like, were dragons on this world first before anything else, before the higher beings came down trying to rule over this strange Bronze Age style world.
Mm-hmm.
And then turns out this is also, I can imagine. Oh, I can already see it now. Like maybe one of like, depending on whatever character we have visiting this eastern side of the world, we see they end up seeing the local blacksmith, and they're just like, what is this guy? He's like, what is it that you are here for? And then like they have this discussion, and maybe they're like, we need to find the wise, sage, druid, one who's claimed to know everything about nature itself with these in this part of the world. It's like, go to the highest portion of the mountain. You are there. You will find what you're looking for. But be careful. For those who go, they come back changed. And then goes back to his whole like forging type situation. Like, that's like a nice little narrative flow there. Mm-hmm. Where like maybe he's actually maybe he's the blacksmith guard of that mountain area who protects the platypus sage because he's like an endangered species or something like that.
And he's like the first line of defense to get past him to make it up to see the master. And then if you make it through your trials with the master and you learn and you train and you come back down, then he's already forged your weapon that is for you, designed for you, like, and whatever the master brought out of you, that this is what you're good at, even though maybe you went in wanting to be the best swordsman in the world, but he ended up teaching you that a hammer is better designed for your body and like what your soul was meant to do. And you come back down and this dude has this giant war hammer made for you that that would be an epic tale right there.
That is such an idea that works so well with each other. This
is a chapter of the book right here. Who's going up the mountain? I don't know, but this is a chapter of the book. And then the next guy that comes along, like the bad guys following the protagonist, get to this dude, and he like instantly goes to war. Like he can tell like your heart, like whether you're on this path for the right reason or the wrong reason. And then like the Prince Zuko comes along after trying to cause trouble, and he's like, all right, we are ready for war, and just and oh man, that would be awesome. And then they're up there training. And he's like, was that a fireball? Don't worry about it. What happens on the mountain stays on the mountain.
Also, I didn't realize this too, because funnily enough, Dan Povenmire, the creator of Phineas and Ferb and the voice of Doofenshmirtz, like it was unintentional that he made Perry the Platypus teal and orange, because it's a cartoon, you can do what you want. But apparently, if you look at them in a UV light, like glow in the dark light, apparently they glow exactly the way Perry the Platypus is colored in the show. So they actually look like under like green light. They happen to have a greenish like body hue with orange and with like orange bills and hands. So that was like ironic. That would be hilarious, especially like I can see if they ever had to fight like toxic or like poisonous type of creatures that live in this world, and like they fly under like a UV light. You get to explore the realms of like using like glow in the dark kind of colors. That would be crazy.
Or see the markings that like only the animals can see because our eyes don't see that far into the wavelengths. Like I mentioned it in one of the inserts in the Mighty Caw handbook that somebody asked a question somewhere about the crow females or something, and he talked about the many different shades from like midnight to onyx that are in the crow feathers, and how beautiful the rainbow of black is, but he can see all these wavelengths and stuff that we can't see. So he's seeing all these different hues in their feathers where we just see black. And I just liked adding that because birds are a lot more colorful than most of us can see, and have patterns and stuff a lot of times that we can't see. And that's very interesting stuff, man.
Oh man, that would be see this. Okay, see then again, it's like moments like these where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of glad we went through this little endeavor. Contemplate my overall existence for this episode. I tell you what.
I tell you, I'm really happy with this character. I love the way he came out. I kind of want to give him something that makes him feel even more Chinese pantheon kind of inspired, but I don't know what to do that without just like a total cultural ripoff feeling. I mean, already I'm going Kung Fu Master, which is pretty overdone. But originally I threw on the straw hat, and I was like, no, I like the top knot better for the silhouette. And you already had that thing coming off the back of his head, and I was like, that would fit really well to be like the top knot hair. So I went that route.
Yeah. Honestly, hey, different color variants. We got, this one right over here. And then now we have fire. So maybe there could be like twin dragons. So we have, the ice one, and then we have the fire one.
Oh, ice dragon and a fire dragon working together as blacksmiths.
Yeah, because one would cool down the metal, the other one would.
Their dad had some kind of issue to build these dudes, but I would like to know what blacksmith. And that totally seems like a blacksmith thing to do. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I found some dragon carcasses. Let me see if I can forge that into a sun.
Maybe the original idea was that they were supposed to try to convert them and make like actual. Maybe it was like a Frankenstein situation. Maybe there was some, mad mage out there who took, the remains of dead dragons and tried basically reconstructing them and making them like undead ones. But in the process, some other dude came in, brought in their inspiration, and somehow created the perfect forging duo. You would have, obviously the ice one cooling down and tempering out the metals and stuff like that. What about those big monk beads? Yes, those would probably be such an enhancement for those, for your character as well. I can see it as like either like a little ankle bracelet, or maybe like as a like either a bracelet or actually something from around the neck, or maybe even going down like a sash. But that depends on how you drew it out here. Man, I never would have thought that. This is interesting. I actually like the fact that we were able to switch. I like the fact that we switched. This was really, really necessary because there was no way I was going to be able to come up with a character like that, especially being a what's it called, blacksmith. So this was a very interesting episode, indeed. But I really do enjoy the way that
it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this one. Came out really cool. I dig it.
Since I finished, I think there's also a topic I wanted to touch on, especially with the handbooks. While we're on this topic of rolling up characters and stuff like that, I also wanted to come up with the idea of like, what if we created like a basic, like, game structure? You know, like not like a crazy, you know, like D&D thing, but like a basic, like, grab some D6 and then just kind of play out like a little adventure, if you will. Like, you know, with a Roll for Hero handbook, you can make your own villain, make your own hero, and then have the villain do a thing, trying to take over the world, maybe even stop, or, you know, like doing something. Basically, like, it would be interesting if we got to do the Roll for Hero handbook, but then also did like a fun little adventure book that would actually have your character fighting off, you know, the villain you made from the handbook or something like that. So it's, I don't know. I'm just shooting ideas. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the idea of the Roll for Hero handbook and then coming up with some fun adventure modules? You know, that might come with like 2 or more adventures in which your characters have to either fight off a specific character, or maybe there's some situation going on. Who knows? I'm just yapping. I'm just saying words out loud. I love the way that this came out, though. Like, again, I printed this myself, so having this on deck was like, it's so nice. Feels very, you know, official too, especially since since the cover is made from cardstock. So there's a level of professionality, a level of like a fine finish.
That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I got it. I did something and my keys are all messed up. My quick keys on the side of my tablet are all messed up for some reason, and they don't
Give me a sec. I have a call coming in.
There we go. Got silence for the phone call. Can't believe it. Wouldn't be me. We all been yapping, says Dragon Gaming. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. All right. What would be my best way of going about this? I'm going to turn that off. Turn that down low. And then I'm going to come in here. Now, this would give me a chance to add in a nice pop of color, too, other than just green. So I like that idea a lot. Not that color, though. I don't know why I thought I changed the color. It would have been smart if I'd actually changed the color. Instead, I just assumed I did. Like a fool. All righty. There we go. Probably have to change this color once everything is back up to 100%. But for right now, it's working. Right now, the only thing I really care about is blocking in the color so I can have a solid block of color to change to whatever I want the color to be in the end. Much like flats. I just want a solid selection area right now. That's not the layer. That's the layer. There we go. Almost tried to change the wrong layer. Crazy fishy. Man, there is nothing worse than getting way too far and realizing you did way too much on the wrong layer, man. Call those beads the heavy whip. That's what I like on top of my ice cream is the heavy whip. Whoosh. Got a little bit out of the lines on that one, which is why I'm doing it on a separate layer. I don't normally do things on a lot of layers. I keep my layers pretty simple, pretty close to the vest. But occasionally, if I want to try something out, I'm going to try it out on another layer so I can feel it out and see if it's right for what I'm trying to do. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong layer. There we go. There we go. Now we're back. All right. Well, he's still just going. Crazy old Eli. Man, I'm too used to talking about my son. Esteban. Crazy old Esteban forgot we was on a show. Got the jaw jacket. Which will happen if you're a jaw jacker. I should know. I are one. Been jaw jacking since way back in the day. See, this is why I don't do the show alone, because I get weird when I'm just talking to myself. Dragon Gaming says he drops the beads and they break the stone floor because they're so heavy. See, I dig that idea. Kind of like taking off those heavy training clothes in Dragon Ball. And you realize, oh man, he's been balancing on his tail all this time. Uh-oh. I sure hope he doesn't have any attacks where he whips that giant tail around and hits me with it. That would be unfortunate. Tail whip. Whoosh. Tailnado. Whoosh. Okay. Well, you see, you got yourself a problem there, fishy. All righty. I'm going to have to lower that transparency a bit. Yeah, your problem is you done drew right over the toes of one of the feet that are supposed to be in the front. Like a maroon. Like a maroon. We can fix it. It ain't a fatal flaw around y'all. Just made you look like a fool in front of Dragon Game. And that's something you'll never live down. Dragon Gaming holds grudges. That's what they say on the street. And I never argue with what they say on the street. I do like that idea of dropping the beads and them being super heavy, though. That is a great idea. All right. And I do like the idea of them being a different color, but I'm going to go more brassy than bright orange, I think. That is correct, says Dragon Gaming. All right. Bibbity, 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 bobbity, boo. All right. Ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. Ba-doom, da-doom, ba-doom, da-doom, da-doom, da-doom.
I am back.
I don't believe you.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, that was my mother. She was just very excited for me about Tulip City Comic Con.
That's awesome.
She literally just calls. She's like, "Oh my God, you're going to Michigan! Tell us, like, just make sure to tell me what it's all like. I wish I can go there with you to see it. And I'm like, trust me, I would love for you to come too. Because also it's Michigan. We haven't been there. So it's fantastic. She's really ecstatic. She wanted to at least know like how this was all going to go down. So very supportive parents.
That's
If there's a
awesome.
young parent out there watching this, which is most likely our nieces, nephews, and those in between, because I know they're going to be parents one day. And if they ever have a passion of some kind, make sure to support them in that, because that'll take them to the stars, man. To the stars, back, and then some. Because my dad has 5 questionable children, and somehow we're managing to work it out. Got a musician for a son, a comic artist, an entrepreneur, and 2 that are still pending right now. But he ensured that we were going to live.
2 kids are still pending.
Hey, we don't know what they're doing with their lives. I don't know what my sisters
When the
are doing.
DNA reports get back, bye, Joe.
I don't know what my sisters want to do. I know what my brothers want to do because, my brother's a musician. My little brother is about to work for Tesla. So, that's one thing. And my sisters, I have yet to discover what they want to do, because I know it's very much within the realms of working for the church, or at least one of them is. I know that my youngest sister, I don't know what she wants to do yet. So we'll figure it out as she goes. But if there's one thing I should say, I'm going to rant about this. So if my sister is watching this, Hadassah, I'm going to be attacking you from this point on at the time being. I hate the fact that you are a better artist than me, and it really annoys me. I have trained myself since I was 5 years old. I am 26, and I am extremely jealous of how she manages to draw. This woman, this tiny feminine specimen that I call my sister, is somehow a living printer, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, it legit makes me kind of mad how good Bear is at his age, and he's always been better than me at his age, and way better than I was when I was that age, and it's always irritated me that he's so talented. I mean, he's got some natural skill, but he's also had the benefit of having somebody that can help give him advice and aim him in different directions, show him things that he could be working on to challenge himself. And he's taken that really well, and it's made him a lot better artist, but that also makes him better than I was at his age. And like, he's professional quality good now, graduating out of high school, college age. I was not. I thought I was at that age, but I was not. And I was get by in an indie comic good. I wasn't professional quality good. And it irritates me, but I'm proud of him at the same time. I just wish he wasn't that much better than me. That's all.
It annoys me because my sister, well, it also didn't help too that she also went to a very, very well-known art school in West Palm Beach. So she went to, I think it's called Dreyfus. I think that was the one. She went to a lot of art schools growing up for her. So she got much more of that kind of helping her out. Because if I was in those schools, I couldn't tell if I would either love it or hate it. Because being told to do art is one thing, but then when you get to do it, it's different. Like, for instance, I wasn't told to do this, show and, be a comic artist. I wanted to do comic art, hence why I like it,
Mm-hmm.
So I can't tell schools.
That's one thing I can recommend about art school is it will force you to do things you don't want to do. And that's one thing you really need to get used to as a working artist, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be working on the stuff you want to work on. You're going to be working on stuff to pay bills. And it might be fun, and it's definitely more fun than digging a ditch, but it's still work. It's still, you're doing something for somebody else, so they will give you money. And that's not always the most fun stuff. But I wish I had paid more attention to that. I fought that tooth and nail as a kid. And I've always been fiercely independent and forged my own path. And that's usually been the hardest possible path. And I could have got to the same place if I'd taken an easier road. But I've only learned that through hindsight.
Hindsight is 2020. Hopefully, not the year.
It's even better when your hind's as big as all outdoors. Well, it is almost 5 o'clock, and we're going to have to get off of here so the next rerun can air. So if you missed out on the show with William Andrew, was it? Philip Andrew. See, it's two first names. If you missed the show with Philip Andrew, the Sixth Ranger from Power Rangers Wild Force, you can check that out. It'll be on my channel here in a few minutes on the rerun. Oh, I need to see if Tony added his and get those in. Okay, we got to go. I love you. I forgot I have to do that. So
anyways, we're going to end our entire fun session here. So to our nieces, nephews, and to those in between, obviously make sure to follow these 3 simple rules. Make sure to stay awesome, stay weird, and to keep life to the easiest. Always remember that art inspires all, but you can inspire more. We'll see you all at Tulip City Comic Con. But until then, your uncles love you.